Hello and welcome to NHL Best Bets. Yesterday there were only 4 games, but quality of these games were pretty good. Interesting games overall. We picked Vegas in LA. Home team was a bit better. 3-1 was a final score, and especially the first 2 periods, Kings played very well. Vegas woke up for the third period, but the cavalry that came in wasn't enough to make more than one goal. The other game we had a total bet in Nashville against Dallas. Game was reasonably even, but at the end they made 6 goals during the regular time, so it was barely over. But with the good odds from the Kings game, daily result was on a green. Tommy, what's your take for yesterday's game?
Well, at least we got the correct one right this time, so the one with better odds. And it was a very, very good game from Los Angeles Kings. And like we mentioned, they have shown that they are capable of challenging, at least in some games, these top teams. And it was a good game, especially the 2 first periods. Then Vegas got a little bit their game going in the last one, but that's what is expected when you're down 2 goals. So you have to put everything to it. So it was Kings then who managed to take the win 3-1 and scored the final goal, the getaway goal 3-1 in the end of the game. So very good game from the Kings, very good pick from us because these sort of odds for home team always a great selection. And then the under we took, I would take that anytime. Again, I think that game could have ended in the closing seconds of the second period. Dallas had the game in hands, but they squandered another victory there, and they allowed Nashville to come back to it in the third period. The equalizer then later than halfway of third period, and it was a kind of this sort of game we have seen this season from Dallas up and down. Not very convincingly holding on to their leads and this sort of stuff. So a good win for Nashville then. After the shootout, but I do think that 3-1 was the actual score of this game. So I think we won, but let's win another time. Very good win for Nashville because the things haven't been going their way now. A little bit better, but I still think that Dallas is a better team of these two.
How about the 2 other games? New Jersey won Pittsburgh on the road. Overtime, that we discussed a bit, that road underdogs had some value over there, and then tight game in Florida, Tampa against the Florida Panthers, but then Tampa pulled last period victory 5-3 there. Goalkeeper McElhenney was pretty good. Florida outshot Lightning 32-24.
Yeah, very interesting games, both of these, and completely different ones. So New Jersey visited Pittsburgh, very defensive team, and the game was only 2-1 for the Devils. But we mentioned that the Devils are probably bound to a victory after the two-game series in New Jersey went 1-1. So now they have the upper hand, and it was a good game from the Devils. They did exactly what is needed to stop the Penguins, with a lot of injuries, of course, Malkin out and a couple of other offensive players out for Penguins. They are struggling at the moment. Doesn't look too good. Excellent value. The odds for Devils were plus 183, so a good pick there. And in a similar way, the Panthers, Tampa Bay, that was a lot of goals, a very entertaining matchup. Not much of a defense. I think the head coaches might not be very happy with that, but Tampa Bay just that much better team at the moment, and they showed that they can also play this sort of free-flowing offensive hockey that Florida Panthers is used to playing. So Tampa Bay beat Panthers now in their own game in a way.
Tonight we have 10 games on our table, and even though some of the teams are playing back-to-back, and like LA Kings, they are hot after the yesterday's victory, traveling to San Jose, we don't pick them for tonight, but we have here two other picks. Edmonton plays in Montreal. They have been playing pretty well. I think 3 wins in a row. Draisaitl, McDavid duo in same line is a bit difficult to contain for opponents, and that's where we are banking in tonight as well. Edmonton plus 114 odds, good value on the road against maybe notch lower quality team in Montreal. Then other game, Colorado goes to Arizona. Colorado has finally found a bit stride in their offense after slump that took a bit longer than anybody expected. They have scored in last 3 games 8, 5, and 6 goals. So basically single-handed going over most of those games, and naturally all of those have been over against Minnesota and one game in Anaheim. So Arizona, same level team as maybe a bit better than Anaheim, but not so good as Minnesota. Colorado, if they keep playing as they have been, expectation is to have over 5.5 goals with good plus 100 odds.
Yeah, once again, really good odds for both of these selections. So we like to play against Montreal. The system doesn't really like them, and it's understandable. We made a good profit from that, and I do think that Edmonton is a better team. They have now played a little bit better defensively as well. They put their best eggs in the same basket, but it hasn't slowed them down. Good game also last time from their goaltenders, so something that has improved from the early season, and I think going forward, this is the type of play that Edmonton will play. Maybe not scoring as many goals as we might have expected, but still managing to reduce the chances of the opposing players to a point that the goaltenders can play their game. They didn't help Mikko Koskinen nor Mike Smith early in the season at all, so they were left hanging. But now it looks like they found a little bit of this teamwork that we've been looking for. So Edmonton, very good pick now, visiting Montreal. Still a shaky team, I think, in Montreal, and even the changing of the head coach did not really change things. It's still a mediocre team at best, and I think Edmonton will take this one. And then the very interesting game, I'd say, because Arizona has been usually in our under picks, but this time playing at home against Colorado, we take the over. It's a little bit more than 55% probability to go over 5.5 goals. So like you said, Colorado has found their stride in the offense. They have scored enough goals by themselves to make the over in a couple of last games. Maybe not this time, but I do think that Arizona's playing style with the fast counter attack, quick turnovers, when they get the puck, they are probably likely to score a couple of goals as well. So I'd say the final score 2-4, 2-5 is more to what it's gonna be. So a great odds plus 100 for the over here. I thought it would be a lot lower. So great value for this good matchup, Arizona, Colorado. Interesting to watch as well.
Simulations show value for some home underdogs top of the ones that we selected, but one game that we can check here in more detail is Calgary visiting Ottawa. Home team has almost 10% higher probabilities than odds indicate, but is that due to shaky goaltender situation in Ottawa?
Yeah, that will be interesting to see how they are gonna fix that. There is a couple of guys injured, and they play with Joey Daccord lately. I think he's out now. They have Anton Forsberg in their system, but he's marked out in some sources. So we'll see if they are playing a bus driver as a goaltender. I think Ottawa does not really have a chance, but we do still have some value. We have in our simulations Daccord playing in the goal, and we think that's pretty much a 50-50 matchup against Calgary. So a very good value for the home underdog here if they have a decent, let's say, at least a decent goaltender. But let's take a look at that closer to the game starting time, that we have clarification on that situation. Of course, Calgary has now improved a bit with their new head coach, and they play more defense. So it will be a close game, not a lot of goals probably, unless the goaltending situation doesn't resolve itself.
Then a bit similar game in Columbus when Carolina goes there. Even the goaltending situation is crystal clear for both teams. Korpisalo will play for Columbus and James Reimer most probably in Carolina. But here Columbus won last 2 games at Carolina or in Raleigh, and they now are facing 3rd game in this series now in Columbus, but the odds are still quite high for the home team. Do you think it would be 3 in a row for the Columbus, or will Carolina, that is predicted to be a little bit better team than Columbus, bounce finally back on the road?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Carolina is a better team, but they did squander the win last time around. The equalizer came in last minute at least. Carolina scored a goal in the overtime, which was then an offside, and then Columbus went on to win in the shootout with 2 great goals by Patrick Laine and Oliver Bjorkstrand. So very back and forth pairing here. I do think Carolina is due a victory now, but we do have some value for Columbus, so 42% against the odds of about 40%. So still slight value for Columbus, but I do see Carolina as favorites here, just like the system and the odds do.
Is there any other games or any other bets, for example, for totals that you think would be worth to play closer to the games tonight?
Yeah, we always like Minnesota and Anaheim, of course, to go under, but this time we don't place our trust in Cam Talbot. He has played well, but we would expect Kaapo Kähkönen to get more minutes there. So let's stay away from that one. But the simulations have that as 57% under 5.5 goals. Minnesota, of course, a lot better team at the moment than Anaheim, who seem to be now finding their spot in the bottom of that division. So not much going on for the Ducks. But I do think it's going to be quite low scoring game nevertheless, no matter who is the goaltender. I think Anaheim, John Gibson is injured. He was out last time. So I do think that Ryan Miller will start. He has not been that impressive. So both Minnesota and the under are the likely bets here.
Yeah, let's see how the under bets go. Always be pessimistic of the scoring so you don't have any disappointments then when you are betting under. But we'll check these games naturally tonight and come back tomorrow with new games and new picks.
See you tomorrow.